What's up, all my damn fans out there? I'm back to share some more of my ideology with you. Don't be offended if you think I'm talking about you. I probably am. Me too sometimes. These are just things to work towards. And one of the things I believe in strongly is avoiding being a hypocrite. Hypocrisy involves living in one way that is totally conflicting with your actual beliefs. Okay? And now, this doesn't apply to, say, an actor that can be a murderer in a movie but be a really nice guy in real life. Doesn't even apply to wrestlers that have a character. All right? It also doesn't apply to the same person over a long stretch of time if that person has changed. Now, the limited don't understand growth because they don't experience it very much. But one example is, I can't tell you how many times I used to hear, Obama's a hypocrite. How can he be throwing people in jail for smoking marijuana when he says he tried it himself? He doesn't think you should do it. And that's based on his experience. That's like someone coming out of jail for 30 years after doing rape. And if they tell people, hey, it's not a good idea to rape, you think that's being a hypocrite? It's not. All right. One thing that is a hypocrite is like, if police gives you a speeding ticket and they, in fact, are speeding also. Well, that gets much worse. Say a cop throws you in jail for breaking the law when he breaks the law too. It gets dangerous. We like to see hypocrisy exposed. That's something that it's justice and it's karma explained in its simplest form. So we love that. I, for one, am happy that there's cameras everywhere. Now, this is something that a lot of people feel differently than I do about. And I'm not saying the government should be spying on you through your laptop while you're watching porn. But the fact that whenever I'm out in public, I'm being recorded, I like that. I don't have anything to hide. And it's not invading my privacy if I'm in public. And they certainly catch a lot of bad guys by doing this. So I'm all for it. I believe in transparency when possible. Now, people do what they got to do. I can't tell you how many of my peers have one person that's at home, the dad, the husband, and a complete different person on the road that their own family doesn't even know. It's pretty hypocritical. For me, that's not healthy for my spirit. So I try hard to avoid that. That conflict of expressing one thing. Sometimes people really get behind it, They say the strongest homophobics are the ones that have gay tendencies. Could be. There's a lot of they says. I know back when Bill Clinton was getting all the heat and getting maybe kicked out of the office because he got blown by an intern, that became a huge point of debate, all right? So, he cheated on his wife. That was irresponsible. Does that have anything to do with running the country? So a lot of politicians came forward and they stood behind that strong. Get him out of those office. The people from the opposing parties. How's he going to rule our country and can't even keep his dick in his pants? Well, Larry Flint exposed a lot of these politicians by giving $1 million every time someone had a case of evidence of one of these politicians with a mistress or with a prostitute. And that was very satisfying, seeing the karma that these guys got. And I, for one, pride myself in being honest and living up to my own values, which I might say, I think are pretty good values. Um, by the way, values is a whole nother episode, all right? But let me tell you a little story, all right? I think it was 97. I got a guest starring spot on VIP with Pamela Anderson. I was in a different state of mind. It's so easy for me to, when I think back, to think of how different I observed everything. This is something I'm not proud of, but on the way to the set that day, which I got to show up at 7 o'clock, I know I'm going to be waiting around a long time. That's part of filming. It's part of TV and movies. Hurry up and wait. They give you a movie trailer, you know, if you're that far up on the food chain, you know, with TV, bed, everything. It's nothing to bitch about, but still, it's nature to find shit to bitch about, especially depending on who you are. And back in the day, this was before I even had a clue that I should be working on my spirit and get my mind, body, and spirit tuned up. Anyway, I'm listening to the radio on the way to the set, and I think it's Howard Stern, and they're talking about Pam Anderson, and she's in court that morning with Tommy Lee because they had partied a little bit on New Year's Eve a few weeks before, and apparently Pamela told the court that he had some drinks, he was on probation. I think maybe it was a fight over custody of the children, you know, had nothing to do with me, none of my business. But listening to that, and I was already just upset because I had to get up early. Should have been stoked that I had the part. You know, what a great opportunity. And I was, but that side of me wasn't the dominant side that was making me growl as I drove to the set, which, by the way, is the same set they filmed Fantasy Island on. Pretty cool. Got to the set, you know, I'm waiting around in my trailer, and I think maybe even listening to the radio more. But anyway, just stewing in my own thoughts, right? Eventually, they said, hey, you know, Pam's here, we're going to get going. We need you in the makeup truck. Not by my choice. I don't like to wear makeup, but a lot of times they like to cover up my shiny forehead and whatever. But I'm sitting there in the makeup trailer, and a couple seats over is the star of the show. And basically, like a lot of young wrestlers offend us old school wrestlers when they come into the dressing room and they don't introduce themselves. It's the way we were brought up. Some of them weren't. And it can be offensive. Well, back then in 97, I guess I'm 26 years old. I wasn't that smart when it came to that stuff. I wasn't that experienced, is really what I wanted to say. But when it comes to acting, movies, TV sets, anyway, she's the executive producer. She, at the very least, approved me taking that guest starring spot. You know, I should have went over there and thanked her and kissed her ass. Which, by the way, you know, it's Pam Anderson. That don't sound like a bad idea. But I sat there and just kind of like looked forward while they were doing whatever. I think they were fucking with my hair or something. And I heard her at one point say, Rob Van Dam. And I just looked over, you know, and smiled like, you know, hey, went back to being stupid. Pretty soon she goes, came over and extended her hand and said, hi, I'm Pam. You know, so hey, nice to meet you. Hopefully I said I'm Rob. I don't know. I was just stupid. And I will say a little biased because I felt like a lot of judgment over the thing that had nothing to do with me whatsoever. But thinking, man, that's fucked up. She's drinking with him, and then she tells on him to fuck him up. Man, what a bitchy thing to do. That's what I was thinking. I don't know why. I just know that I live with the regret of that, and that I wouldn't now, knowing what I know now, having my priorities in the order that they are, act in the same way. Later on in the set, by the way, I played Ving Talbot, this army dude that was trapped on an island. The episode is called Survive Val. Val being the key word, because that's Pam's name in the show. Hey. Oh. Anyway, later on in the set, my evil ex-wife came by the set, wanted to meet Pam. And when I went to introduce them, I said, hey Pam, this is the devil. I didn't know that yet. That's another episode too. Pam rolled her eyes and stuck her hand out, and shook her hand. And my ex was really offended by that. My ex-wife was like, why did she do that? And of course, she's so insecure. She's thinking maybe because Pam wants to fuck me, doesn't, want to meet the wife. Whatever. She's trying to think about it. Honestly, I don't think I realized until like recently and put it all together and saw the big picture. Maybe even when I was thinking about talking about this and thinking about how I could apply this towards some of my ideology. And anyway, Pam thought I was a hypocrite. A total hypocrite. Earlier in the day, I acted like there was no value in meeting her. Later in the day, there's value now in meeting her because my wife wanted to. She thought I was a total hypocrite. I totally understand. And I wasn't. I was just a dumbass. That's part of growing. The more we grow, the more we look back on a lesser form of us. You know what I mean? So, well, basically, that's it. If you don't get it, then turn the channel. I don't know. But if I get another chance, Pam, I'm as big of a fan as anybody of Pam Anderson. I even got the Stan Lee signed Stripperella poster hanging on my wall. Pick a thumb. Let me know what you think. Oops.